Hello, Year 11, and welcome to the HSC presentation. This presentation will be shared with your parents as well from today, but just a quick summary of what we're going to be going through. So in terms of today, we're going to go through the HSC processes and procedures. So how the HSC works, the requirements and credentials attained by students, the calculation of an ATAR, illness and misadventure processes, maintaining a balance in the HSC year, as well as some information about how parents can assist U12 students. In terms of the HSC requirements, you need a minimum of 10 units, which must include the following. So you must have 6 units of board developed courses, which are subjects that contribute to an ATAR. You must have 2 units of English. You can have no more than 6 units of science, but you can include extension science as a 7th unit. You must have 3 courses of 2 unit value or greater and 4 subjects. So please be aware if you're picking up extension courses that this may impact you. So you need to have 3 courses with 2 units, English Advanced, English Extension 1, English Extension 2 would count as 1 subject. So when you consider what subjects and calculating your 10 units, you have to have 4 subjects. And although those are 3 different English courses, they're only counted as 1 subject. A 2-unit course equates to 120 hours of study and a HSC result out of 100. And a 1-unit course equates to 60 hours of study and a HSC result out of 50. Just a reminder that there are many pathways after the HSC. Not everyone is going to go through the same pathway. If you are going to go to university or you want to go to university, you will need an ATAR. You do not need an ATAR for TAFE. And of course, there are many other pathways post-school, including apprenticeships and full-time employment. Okay, so what can students expect to see included in their HSC documents? At the conclusion of Year 12, firstly, you'll receive a testament. You will receive this in the mail. All the rest of the documents that we're going to go through in the following slides will be available from your student's online account that you have set up in Year 10. So in terms of your HSC record of achievement, this will also include your Year 10 and Year 11 grades. So we send grades in at the end of Year 10 and Year 11, which we're in the process of doing now. If anyone doesn't make it all the way to the end of Year 12, then you can still access the Year 10 and Year 11 records of achievement. Important note is that universities often use Year 10 and Year 11 ROSA grades to determine successful early entry applicants. This is what your Year 12 HSC record looks like. It will include your assessment marks. You now have access to your Year 12 assessment handbook. It has all your assessment weightings and types, and as well as dates for all the assessments for this term. And at the end of the HSC, we send in those assessment marks to NESA. Those marks will be moderated and appear in your HSC record of achievement with your exam marks. And then from those assessment and exam marks, they are averaged and a HSC mark is determined using those 2 marks. There will also be performance bands, for example, bands 1 to 6 for 1 or 2 unit courses, and extension courses will use E1 to E4. If you are completing a life skills pattern of study, you'll receive a life skills profile, and that states all the skills you have demonstrated in the HSC course. Students who successfully complete all requirements of a VET qualification will receive a certificate and an accompanying transcript of competencies achieved. This will demonstrate the outcomes that you have achieved while studying that VET course. In terms of your school-based assessment, 50% of the HSC marks is comprised of your school assessment mark. So every assessment task counts. Every assessment has a particular weighting, and these are recorded in your assessment handbook. 2 unit subjects have 4 assessments, and 1 unit subjects typically have between 2 to 3 assessments. We believe the most important exam block are the trials, and that is why we have excluded half-yearly exams. At the end of the HSC course, we will send in marks for each student for each course. These are the school assessment marks. NESA will moderate the marks that we send in to align with the results attained by students in the HSC exam. I will talk about this moderation process later. Your final HSC mark is the one that contributes to your ATAR. That is determined by NESA. NESA will add your school assessment and moderate it, and they will add it to the exam mark you achieve in the HSC exams and divide it by 2. So NESA takes the school assessment mark, moderates that mark, adds on the HSC exam mark, then divides by 2 to determine a student's HSC mark. And this is what contributes to your ATAR. I'm going to quickly go through the moderation process. I will go through this process again in more detail at a later time during the HSC, but just so you have an overall understanding of the process. The moderation process adjusts the school assessment marks in each course to a common course scale. The reason NESA do this is to ensure that we are not making our assessment too difficult, and the consequence of these difficult assessments is poor results. These would seem low in comparison to other students in the state. NESA then moderates that to ensure that the school-based assessment marks sent in are fair. NESA adjusts the school-based assessment marks against your actual performance in your HSC exams. This will be further explained, as I've mentioned before, at a later time. NESA markers align the exam mark by awarding raw scores, and your marks are recorded against a set of standards. You might hear or say yourself that you really want a band 6 in the HSC. A band 6 on paper looks like a mark between 90 to 100, but it may not mean that you achieved a raw mark between 90 to 100 in the HSC. It means that you reached a particular standard and you met the benchmarks for a band 6. What students need to be familiar with and work with in class are the assessment performance standards. You need to know what a band 6 looks like in each of the courses you study. Just because you receive an 89 does not mean you will 1 mark from a band 6. It means that you have not demonstrated the band descriptors of a band 6 in your responses. Assessment and reporting goes against a set of standards and ensures that a band 6 in geography in 1 year is comparable with a band 6 result in geography in another year. Raw marks are aligned with cutoffs, and extension courses use E1 to E4. Just remember, the minimum standard in the HSC is 50 marks, and if you do not meet this minimum standard, you will achieve a band 1. Anyone who meets those minimum standards, you will achieve a band 2. It does not mean a raw mark of 50 to 59, but it means you have met the minimum standards of a band 2. So on the screen, these are for 2 unit courses and how bands are recorded between a band 1 to 6. 50 to 59 is a band 2, If you do not achieve the minimum standards, you receive a band 1. For extension courses, there are cutoffs as well. For Mathematics Extension 2, although it is a 1-unit course, students undertaking Extension 2 in mathematics, they will not complete the advanced course, so their performance in Extension 1 and 2 are marked out of 100. The ATAR is the Australian Tertiary Admission Rank. It is a number and a ranking, not a mark. It is a ranking system used by universities to offer placements to students. It does not mean if you get an ATAR of 80, you received an average of 80 across all of your courses. It is a ranking, so usually an ATAR of 80 means you came in the top 20% of the state. To determine your ATAR, they take 2 units of English and your best 8 units. So your 10 best units in total are calculated in your ATAR. Just a reminder, you can only count 2 units of Category B subjects in your ATAR. So this is usually only 1 subject. At school, any vet courses we offer are Category B, and English Studies and Mathematics Standard 1 are also Category B courses. I know some of your English and mathematics teachers are speaking to you and providing you with advice about if you should move courses, including English Studies or Mathematics Standard 1. But please remember, if you wish to receive an ATAR, you can only undertake 1 Category B subject. If you are not sure about this or what changes you should make, you should speak to your teachers or come and see me and we can discuss your changes to ensure that you're still eligible for an ATAR. An ATAR of 99.95 is a rank, and it states that you are within the top 0.05% of the state. 79% of students in New South Wales received an ATAR, and the average ATAR is about 70. Your best 10 units are calculated by breaking down 2-unit subjects into 1-unit blocks, a mark out of 50. Units are scaled based on the quality of the candidature of each course, and NESA provides UAC with moderated assessment marks and total exam marks. Please don't pick courses based on scaling. You should only consider your best units, and those are the ones you take into the HSC. We understand that things happen in the HSC. If something happens and your performance is impacted by illness misadventure, you need to complete the appeal documentation. The form is available on student homepage and you have to submit this with relevant documentation. If you are sick, you need to go to a doctor and get a medical certificate and attach that to your application, otherwise it may not be approved. Please look carefully at the calendar and the assessment handbook. And you need to know when your assessments are for this term. Make sure you take note, put them down somewhere, put them in your phone, put them somewhere that you check regularly. If you can't complete a task because you are going on a holiday, please expect that you will receive a mark of 0 for that assessment. If a Year 12 Gilroy student applies for consideration for a task and the appeal is approved, marks will only be adjusted to within the student's usual mark range. If you feel like you didn't do well in an exam because you were sick and you put in an application of consideration, and then when those exams are marked and your results ends up in your usual rank range based on other assessments in that course, then your result will not be altered. It will only be adjusted if it shows you have performed significantly below your normal range. This is a reminder that malpractice is cheating in any form. It includes the use of other students' material in preparation of a task, unauthorized assistance from a non-participating candidate, plagiarism of reference materials, false declarations of absence, lateness, or sickness, and unacceptable behavior while carrying out a task in the classroom, These are all examples of malpractice. Any work that is not your own will receive a mark of 0. In Year 12, the college must maintain a malpractice register, and your name will appear on that register. It is uploaded to NESA. Please be aware that universities have access to records kept by NESA. If you are absent the day before an assessment and you do not have a doctor's certificate, this is malpractice. Malpractice is when you put yourself at an unfair advantage so that students undertaking that assessment are not on an even playing field. That is why taking the day off before an assessment is due to complete the task is considered as malpractice and will attract a possible result of 0. Just a reminder that senior study is difficult. And when you are undertaking the HSC, you have to maintain a balance to ensure that you don't burn yourself out and you perform as well as you can. Make sure you plan a schedule that includes enough study, exercise, social activities, and sleep. You need to balance both study and play to perform at your best. The HSC is hard, stressful, and can take a toll. You need to have a balance and not leave assessments to the last minute. If you have a job, please make sure it is manageable and fits in with your other responsibilities. This is a good time to speak to your employer about your responsibilities at school and planning your work schedule around assessments and exams to ensure it gives you the best opportunity and chance for success. Exercise is important for well-being. Don't give up your team sport or your gym membership. Remember that exercise helps you perform academically. You should be completing 12 to 20 hours of homework and study per week. As the HSC progresses, you should be building this up to 30 hours a week. You need to limit social media and technology. If you do not put time limits on your technology or social media, it will negatively impact your performance and your well-being during the HSC. I suggest that you start putting a daily time limit on your apps this week. There are a range of resources at school to assist you in the HSC. You have supervised study in the designated study space for Year 12 with the support of a study coach. You have access to Edrollo for HSC courses. You have access to Maths Online, and the college will make sure that you have access, after school access to the library. Your pastoral program will also go through working on goal setting and preparation for the HSC. When will Year 12 and your HSC courses begin? It will start in week 4 this term. You have to maintain all of your current Year 11 courses until the end of week 3 to meet the Year 11 requirements set out by NESA. If you want to drop a course or change a level in English or mathematics or pick up an extension course, you must complete a change of subject form. To complete any change to your pattern of study, you must complete a change of subject form. These are on your cohort page and student services. Those changes to the timetable will begin in week 4. You will be required to maintain your pattern of study until your timetable changes. So these changes won't be processed if it is not completed correctly, and you must have your parents' signatures on your form. You also must ensure that your subjects are stated correctly, and this includes if you want to pick up a course. So what courses can I pick up for the HSC? Just a reminder that all HSC courses have a preliminary course that is a compulsory prerequisite. So you can only move within subjects in your HSC that you have studied in the preliminary course. So extension courses being offered include History Extension, Science Extension, Mathematics Extension 2, English Extension 2. You can only pick up History Extension if you are currently studying a history subject, either ancient or modern. You can only pick up Science Extension if you study a science course, but it can be any of the science courses. Mathematics Extension 2 is only available to students who study Extension 1, and the same with English Extension 2. If you want to make a change to English or math subjects, you have to complete a change of subject form. You cannot pick up a new course for the HSC, as satisfactory completion of the prelim course is a mandatory requirement. So just a reminder that you can only pick up courses that you already study in the prelim course. We recommend that you maintain your Studies of Religion course, as it can make a favorable contribution to an ATAR. Just a final reminder, you cannot pick up a new course for the HSC, as satisfactory completion of the prelim course is a mandatory requirement. Any changes to the options available to students for studying a religion subject will be made by Mrs. Brown and published on your Google Classroom, as well as being sent to your parents. So, do you need to drop a subject by week 4? The answer is no. Most students start the HSC course with 10, 11, or 12 units. Most students only take 10 units into the HSC. Last year, it was 49% of the HSC cohort across the state who undertook 10 units. That being said, if you are uncertain about what to take into the HSC, then you do not rush into a decision. You do have to wait until week 4, but you do not have to make a decision now. You may want to complete the first assessment task and then make a decision, or spend a few weeks learning about the HSC course and use that to make your decision. So just a reminder that you do not have to rush in to drop a subject for the HSC. Take your time, make a well-considered decision, speak to your parents, speak to your teachers before you make that final choice. It is very important to be prepared and stay organized. Keep on top of classwork, homework, and assessments. The HSC rewards hard work, okay? So learn from your experience of the preliminary course and make sure you use that as a basis of how to make changes for the HSC. Just a reminder that the HSC is like a marathon. To do well in a marathon, you have to start early and build slowly. You don't sprint from the start, otherwise you fatigue too quickly. Someone training for a marathon on their first run, doesn't go for 42 kilometers. You might start by running 1 kilometer in the first week, and then slowly building up to ensure that you're ready for success. So start slowly, build up, and learn from your mistakes early on. The best marathon runner doesn't win because they are gifted. They win because they worked hard every day in preparation. Get feedback on how you went in year 11 and implement your feedback to start the HSC course as well and on the front foot. Just a reminder that you need to make sure you have access to your student online account, and you can use this link to make sure that you have access. This will also be posted on your cohort page. A final reminder that you need to ensure that you are aware of when all of your assessments occur this term. This information is in your assessment handbook, which is posted on your cohort page, but make sure that you know about when your assessments are, so you can first off begin planning and making sure that you're organized, but also to make sure that you understand your study requirements for those courses. Again, if you need any help or you want to contact me, please do so. Here, my email is here. Just a reminder that this presentation will also be sent to your parents. So I do suggest that you sit down with them and go through the information that was gone through today with you. Otherwise, thank you very much for listening, Year 11, and good luck for Year 12.